"Why wouldn't you go out with me back then?" he asked, setting down his fork. "After your cousin's wedding." His question surprised James nearly as much as it surprised Parker. Her mouth opened, then closed, and she began stacking the plates neatly onto the tray, where Beauty surreptitiously gave them a few licks. Then, finally, she looked at him. "Well, at the time, I didn't want to date you, James. You were thing one, my father's minion." "But you were okay with using me for sex?" She flinched a little. "I guess so. It wasn't like I'd planned anything." She looked out over the water. "I figured you slept with me because my last name is Wells." "I slept with you because you dragged me into a bedroom and mauled me, Parker. And no straight, single guy in his right mind would say no to that." He smiled a little to soften the words. Her ears grew pink. "Right, I did drag and maul, it's true. But then you went off with my father, and it seemed very convenient. You were already in my father's back pocket. Now you had his daughter, too." His smile dropped. "So you really thought I was complete scum, in other words?" "You were my father's favorite person. My father is complete scum. You were scum by association." She studied her hands. "I was wrong, if it helps." He said nothing. "I figured if you really wanted to date me," she added quietly, "you would have tried harder." "Women, honestly." James leaned back in his chair. "I brought you flowers. I came to your house and you squashed me like a bug. You weren't going to date me, Parker. I was the help." "No, it wasn't that. It was more like—" She sighed. "I don't know. I didn't think you were sincere. I figured you came over to see Harry's daughter, not me." Her cheeks were flushed now, so at least there was that, a little shame thrown in. "If you really wanted something with me, I thought you'd try again. But you didn't." She was pinching her pinky finger. "I guess it was a test or something." "See, to me, it didn't seem like a test. I came over with flowers, and you were armed and ready with a paragon and your kid, and told me I was a drunken mistake. Kinda hard to feel the urge to call you again." "That was a rotten thing to say. I'm sorry for that." "Well, shit, Parker. I'm sorry I assumed you knew that you were an adult who knew what you wanted. I'm sorry I didn't read your mind." She blinked. Then she swallowed. "You've made your point, James," she said, her voice husky. "And for the record, I wasn't drunk. I knew what I was doing." There it was again, her way of saying something abruptly honest. She was so careful all the time, so vigilant about what she'd tell him, and then, bam, she'd say something like that, and it was a sucker punch to the heart.